Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the PPRTA board meeting. Thank you for December 9th. I'd like to call meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and if Mr. Heisey wants to join us, we'll have almost and as soon as the mayor walks in the door, we'll also have a good group.
Let's keep going with that.
All right. So welcome. Related to the agenda, if the only changes to the agenda is if you look down at item 11, which is put in place for an executive session. We do not. We do have an item we're going to need to discuss, but it does not need to be an executive session. So there will not be an executive session. So item 12 will become item 11. So with that in mind, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded several times. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Could we transfer a microphone over to the mayor? We've got an extra one over here. And we got one over here, Mayor. So
I don't want the mayors to share.
yeah, we do not want to require mayors to share. That's for sure. That's true. Okay. Well, is there anybody? Let's open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in front of the board? I don't see anybody starting to stand or raise their hand, so I will close public comment. And let's go. In your packet was the minutes from the November 13th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Anyone in the audience want to discuss this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Let's go to the Citizen Advisory Committee. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, board members. Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. I'd just like to give you a brief highlight of the CAC meeting. The City of Colorado had two contracts they brought forward. To one for removal of some stormwater pipe on Delmonico. We had a discussion with that about the budgets and the available money within that pot of money within their maintenance funds or their CIP monies. And they're going to use some split funding. They're going to use the balance of their 2015 funds for part of it, and then they're going to use part of their 16 budget for the remainder of that project. It's about 1,200 feet of sewer pipe, and I'm sure that Mike and them the city will be able to explain that. We also had a list of contract renewals. There is one item I wanted to just bring to your attention. The October meeting, you approved a contract for Chiddix Brothers for Union and Boxwood. There was a sinkhole there that was needed immediate work to get some work done on. When they got ready to award that contract to Chiddix, their insurance had expired, and they brought forward a $30,000 bill for insurance as part of their bid, which put them above the next lowest bid. So, being you'd already approved that work, they went ahead and awarded a contract to Lucky Dog instead of Chiddix to get that work going. So it was just a substitute. You'd already approved the work. It just went to a different contractor. So I wanted to make you aware of that.
And Jim, I believe that's in our packet, but it's not something we have to approve today.
That's correct.
But we will have a couple other contracts, but that one is more for your information.
That was just more of an information. The county came forward with the property acquisition report. They'll cover that, and we have a positive recommendation on that as well. City of Manitou Springs is requesting $300,000 as part of a down payment for acquisition of a property for a parking lot that's used in conjunction with the Manitou Shuttle, and we make a positive recommendation for the use of RTA funds for that as well. And then just as by the way, we wanted to compliment the entities. In your packet you have that quarterly status report of all the A-list projects. The level of detail in there is minute, and it covers all of the funding, but it's a great way if one of constituents starts questioning where the RTA money goes, it's right there in that packet, and we wanted to compliment the staffs for doing such a great job of providing that for us. So, end of our report.
Okay, is there any comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Well, let's bring up Good News Beverly, and she's developing quite a reputation here. So,
Okay, so for October, we received $7.5 million compared to the 6.9 budget, or $610,000 above, 9%. So $4,352,000 above year to date. So it looks like with that addition to the $82,000, we've already met our 2016 sales and use tax goal. So hopefully, next year we can bump up the sales and use tax in the amended budget. So that's good news. So we're 6.4% ahead for the year. And compared to last year, we're 7% ahead, or $4.8 million almost. The rest of the report's going to speak for themselves. I mean, does anybody have any questions?
anybody have any questions for Bev? Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you. And in my haste, I overlooked a decision that we need to make. We do need to accept the report from the CAC. Is there a motion to accept that report?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thank you very much. So let's go on to the budget.
Okay.
Are you ready for that?
Yes, I am.
And this is another one for Good News Beverly.
Okay. So in October, we set today for the date of the public hearing for the 2016 budget, and the staff recommends that the chair open the public hearing to receive the public comments on the proposed budget, and then after the board discussion of the budget, the board should close the public hearing and approve the resolutions to adopt the budget and appropriate the funds for signature by the chairperson, vice chair, and board secretary. The budget is in your packet. The resolutions are in your packet. And the only thing that changed was, if you recall, last month, the board approved $1 million transfer from the pool to South Mark Shuffle. So I changed that being brought forward into next year in a different category. And that's the thing that I changed in this budget compared to the one that you saw previously.
Okay, good. Well, with that in mind, let me open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to the 2016 budget during this public hearing process?
Absolutely. Rick?
Okay, anybody else that would like to speak? Okay, then let me bring it back up here to the board. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Yes, Ms.
I do have a question. We had requested last time just some further documentation on the Pikes Peak Greenway corridor improvements, and I think that Kathleen got a video or something to someone of documenting that meeting to Rob, and then I just got it a few minutes ago, but it's not playing on my computer, so I think we're going to play that now. Is that correct? Somebody has that loaded and ready to go?
Yeah, we couldn't get it to play either.
Okay.
We did at one point.
So,
Okay.
Kathleen, does your computer work, or iPhone, or anything work with that particular?
I am out of charge. We will have to find you a new link. I do not have a CD because that meeting is so old. But you do have a complete transcript of that meeting from your last month's
Right.
memo.
Okay. So,
And I will ask our city clerk to send you over personally either a CD or a new link with that.
okay. So the paper that we got last month is just a transcript of that audio.
Yes, yes, it is. And it's, if you watch the audio, I'm going to tell you that you're going to see me talk about the bridge, and then I'm going to answer questions on other projects for quite a while, and then I'll answer a final question on the bridge. And she provided a transcript of everything that was directly related to that multimodal bridge.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
The link is not working.
Is there a motion to approve I'm going to close the public comment. And is there a motion to approve the budget?
So moved. Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay.
Okay, and a second motion to appropriate the funds?
Okay. Is there such motion to appropriate the funds?
I move to appropriate the funds.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, Ben. Okay, let's go to the capital maintenance and public transportation contracts. Mike, are you going to start us out with the city?
Well, let me, maybe. I'm trying to find it. I think there was some.
If you want to borrow my copy, Mike, I'll be glad to.
The budget's bigger than I realized. Okay, Mike Chavez, City Engineering. So we have two contracts for review and then one informational. So basically, we put out, Street Division put a bid out for pipe replacement along Delmonico. It's a CMP that's rotted away. And we got bids back, and we're seeking approval for award to Global Underground for $460,000 and $855 on that one. Is there some on the funding on that one?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let Cole Platt speak a little bit more about that.
Good afternoon.
Good
Cole
afternoon.
Platt, City Streets. On this contract, it's approximately 1,200 feet of corrugated metal pipe that is damaged, and the invert is rotted out underneath Delmonico. The contract amount was $460,855. After doing some research before we awarded the contract, with soils in Rock Rimmon being what they are, and they're very bad, and clay and a lot of springs in that soils, and also there is a mine shaft under that, an identified mine shaft under that pipe. Now, we don't plan on getting into that. That's never the plan, but we wanted to give ourselves 20% for latent conditions. So we're actually asking for $553,026 to be approved. Now, that I'm not saying we'll spend that. The contracted amount is on the front end of this is $468.55, and that's what we're looking to spend. But we're asking for a little bit of extra money for latent conditions.
Would you repeat that amount again, please?
Which
The 500.
The 500 is $553,026 even.
Okay.
And the contracted amount is $460,855.62.
Okay, thank you. And then the other one deals with the city PPRTA annual contracts. Is that right, Mike?
Yes. So the second item is basically there's a whole slew of contracts we're looking to extend. These are contracts for supplies, materials, and there's some engineering ones. The list kind of breaks them by category. The first round of extensions, which are materials, kind of shows how many extensions are available. Some have one, some have four. And then the last segment, which are engineering ones, we are actually only looking for a 6-month extension on those as we're going to go out with new RFPs.
Okay. And this, Jim, I believe you said this comes with a recommendation from the CAC.
That's true.
Is there a motion for approval?
I'll move for approval.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody in the audience like to speak to this issue? Okay. Let's, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Thanks.
All right,
Mike.
thank you.
Sometime with that is a Pikeview Mine, I believe, that's over there. Sometime I'll give you a story about a swimming pool that the city owns on top of a mine. That's an interesting story.
Could eventually be like swimming in the blue hole, huh?
That's right. Okay, let's go to El Paso County. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Board of Directors, Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County. Our one contract item this month is for the Mark Shuffle South project, and this is a property acquisition from Mr. Jenkins in the amount of $154,700. We're purchasing 6.7 acres of right-of-way, 2 acres of utility easement, and about 2.5 acres for temporary easements.
Okay. Any questions?
No, move approval.
Second.
Is there anyone in the audience like to speak to this issue? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to the City of Manitou. And that was also recommended by the CAC as well as this proposal from the City of Manitou.
Yes, thank you. Greg Springman, City of Manitou Springs. Bringing a contract before you, asking approval for property acquisition to assist with our shuttle and transportation needs in the City of Manitou Springs. We've been leasing this property for about 5 years, and we're looking to purchase it and move forward in the future for development or parking.
Great. So any comments or questions? Mayor, are you supportive of this?
I'm extremely supportive of this.
Figured
It's
you
been
might
going
be.
on since at least 1999.
Wow.
And we're finally able to get a contract together and get this big project going in Manitou Springs. We actually do have more like $668,000 available in the capital fund. Thank you again to the county for assisting us with bringing that money into 2015. We're only asking for $300,000 now as part of the contract price, and as we develop our plans to turn that into a first-class amenity, we'll be coming back to the board for additional funding to get that project completed. But right now, we're just focusing on acquiring it and bringing it into the city's fold.
Thanks, Mayor. Any chance you'd want to make a motion?
Well, if you're done discussing, I would like to move for approval.
Second.
Is there any other discussion? Anyone in the audience like to speak to this item? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the City of Colorado Springs Transit Report. Mr. Blewett,
Hi. Good afternoon, Craig.
good afternoon. Nice cane, by the way.
Well, thanks. Yeah, got a new hip 3 weeks ago. So, yeah.
Oh, my, you're doing great.
You're doing really well.
Well, thanks. Today's my first day back. I wouldn't miss our budget being approved. So, I want to publicly thank Lan Rao also for the work that she's done on our transit budget. But monthly update. Our report is in your packet. A couple of things to highlight with regard to service is our services remain strong. Local route ridership remains strong again October 2015. It is a slight decrease from last year, but there's also one fewer weekday this year, so that could be attributed to that. For ADA service, Metro Mobility, slight decrease from last year. But last year was really a spike. If you look at the numbers from 2014, that was a spike compared to previous months. We're actually up looking at our other months for this year, so a slight increase there for month to month from this year. And our van pool ridership, again, there was a big spike in 2014. We did have a slight decrease, but it shows us a 17% decrease. Again, that's mostly attributed to the spike we saw in October 2014. A couple projects to talk about. One is the Tejon Park and Ride lot expansion study. This is associated with Park and Ride and also a bus staying stop at I-25 and Tejon. CDOT owns a parcel that's kind of kitty corner to that current Park and Ride. So CDOT is working with us to look at whether or not that property would be needed for expansion for bus staying and other van pool service. So that process is well underway. We have a consultant on board that's working that study with us. And probably the bigger thing to talk about is the proposed 2016 service changes. I have some handouts here. Some in this direction, Ms. Murray.
Got it.
Oh, thank you. And also, Lan Rao has some additional ones if anybody in the audience wants a copy. With our increased funding for next year, overall we're about a $1.8 million increase in operating for next year. That's about equally divided between our three primary sources, PPRTA, City of Colorado Springs, and FTA on the operating side. With that $1.8 million increase, we revisit or update our 5-year financial projection to see what services we can add and sustain for that foreseeable 5-year future. And so we are going through the process now of making proposed service improvements. Those will be released towards the end of this month for a 30-day public review period before we even have public meetings towards the end of January on those service changes. What I passed out is a summary of where we're headed. Again, there will be more information towards the end of the month, and we plan on giving a presentation to this body next month in terms of what those service changes are going to be. But we thought we'd hand this out in advance. The The key objectives here are to increase frequency on our spine services and move more towards a modified grid system in terms of, and a little bit away from the hub and spoke. As we can add frequency, we can do that. That really better serves the community. If you recall, we did a 15-minute service on the Platte Boulder corridor between downtown and Citadel. We saw a significant increase in ridership. What we're proposing is doing the same thing with the Nevada corridor for next year. So both between the downtown and UCCS and also downtown and the Southgate area, we can go to 15-minute service. We also want to improve on-time performance. On-time performance is critical with those connections from bus to bus. If you don't make that connection, you can hold, someone could be up to an hour late for work, and that's really unacceptable. So we're looking at ways to improve our on-time performance. And then finally, just making some efficiency improvements, remove some duplicative service, and also service that's inefficient where we're not seeing a lot of boardings, make some adjustments and to best serve the community. And one of the changes, and we talked a little bit about it last month, Mayor Snyder, you brought up some of the changes we're talking about at Manitou. We have a on-time performance on Route 3 heading out Colorado Avenue, Manitou Avenue. A lot of that's being tied up in the downtown traffic in Manitou, which is great news for Manitou in terms of a lot of activity downtown, but it really holds up our buses. And what we're trying to do is work with Manitou to really achieve two purposes. One is our on-time performance on Route 3, but also helps serve Manitou in a way that goes in directions that they're going with regard to parking management, service to the incline, as well as the Cog Railroad, especially in the, really year-round now. And so my understanding is, I've been out the last couple of weeks, but there's been a couple of meetings, and we're making progress and heading in a good direction, as I understand it. Kind of a key thing there is with Route 3, though, that goes out west, is going to stop at around the City Hall of Manitou, and then the shuttles will take over from there. And in the summertime, during peak season, there's really two shuttles. One really serves the avenue, and the other one focuses more on the incline. On the off-season, we'll cover both with that shuttle and provide really 362 days a year service for the incline and for Manitou. So it looks like we're heading in a good direction on that. We had budgeted some funds in the city budget increase for better on-time performance for Route 3 for City Colorado Springs funding. And again, Manitou is also paying their share, and we think between the two of us we're going to come up with something that's going to work.
I would expand that to not just the incline, all of the Ruxton corridor.
Yes.
The Bar Trail, the Cog Railway, there's a lot of activity up there. Just rankles me that incline is driving so much of our activity. But
Yeah.
So just to make it more clear, that it's not just the incline, it's the whole of the Ruxton corridor.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that comment.
Any comments or questions for?
Well, I did have
Yes.
a comment. I wanted to thank MMT staff, Brian Vituli and the team that came out. We had a very productive meeting last week, and I appreciate your flexibility. Originally, you were thinking about maybe trying to end the Route 3 at the eastern end of town, and I think it's a great compromise and a better solution to bring it all the way to City Hall. I think we still have one issue, is how is those buses going to get left off of Old Man's Trail onto Manitou Avenue?
Yes.
And but I think that's really the last outstanding issue. I think we're on board with the program, and very favorable cost offer that we got from Mountain Metro. I made the comment, like any good dealer, you keep those prices low, get people hooked on the shuttle program, and then we'll have to deal with it in future years as the costs are more reflective of the true cost. But I appreciate all the work and outreach from Mountain Metro.
Good deal. I mean, on bottom line, we're just trying to figure out the best way to serve our overall community, and through those dialogues, I think we're going to get there.
Okay. Any other comments? Anybody in the audience? Okay. Craig, my daughter had hip replacement in June. I'm going to tell you the same thing. My background's in sports medicine. Do not come back too fast.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Sounds good.
Well, sometimes you can get feeling so good you do things that you shouldn't do. So be careful.
It's amazing. They have you up and walking the next day. And
it's amazing.
It's good carpentry. So.
Thanks and Merry Christmas. All right. Let's go with El Paso County.
Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County. We have two reporting items this month for property acquisition. And the first one is just a small parcel that we needed to obtain from, in a separate one than we previously presented from Mr. Jenkins for the Mark Shuffle South property. project, and that's $10. And then the second one, which I wanted to report back to you because we finally came to a final conclusion on our condemnation parcel for Stapleton. Just as a reminder, this parcel on Stapleton Road was one that the county made an initial offer based upon our appraisal for $12,000. The property owner chose to get an appraisal of his own. That came back at $41,000. We initially went with kind of meeting in the middle, about $20,000, which is what we typically do. That property owner rejected that, and so we made a best and final offer at $41,000, which the property owner refused and wanted about $200,000 for this property. So we made the difficult decision of going to our board with a recommendation for going to condemnation, and went ahead with that process. We were able to go ahead and file for condemnation, and were able to, through that process, get possession of that property, which I think was very successful because it allowed our project to go forward. And so in May or June, I think, we went ahead and deposited those funds. I had reported that for the board here, deposited those funds. We were preparing for the just compensation trial this February 2016, and the property owner's lawyer came forth and talked and suggested that they would be open to mediation. So we went ahead and went through that process, and we came out with a final settlement of our best and final offer of $41,000. So I think wanted to thank our county attorney's office and our board, our commissioners, because I think that we were able to come out successful with that property acquisition. And wanted to report also that although we had a snowstorm, we were able to go ahead and open that road in December, just before Thanksgiving. So that project is now substantially complete.
Good. Any comments or questions?
I got a question about Stapleton out there. Are they going to put a stoplight up there? Do you know at Stapleton 24?
Eventually, there'll be that intersection will meet warrants. It doesn't meet warrants today, so eventually CDOT. There is actually an IGA with that the county has with a developer out at that location for the developer to contribute to put that in. But there is it is currently lighted at night, so I think that is something that is a great first step. And when it does meet warrants, we'll have to work with the developer to put that signal in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
I just want to know what we bought for $10.
About 1,000 square foot of property, but it was a property that we needed for the project. So,
Okay. Sounds like a good deal.
I'm just going to question your negotiating skills because I think you could have got it for $1.
Or donate, right?
Any other comments or questions?
Paperwork that it was worth.
Anybody in the audience? All right. Thank you very much. Good job.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go to the monthly status report on the remaining A-list capital projects.
Good afternoon, Rick Sonnenberg, Pikes Peak RTA Program and Contracts Manager. This is an information item only. You'll see on the report that the $1 million that the board approved to go to Mark Sheffield South was deducted, and we now have in this remaining unallocated funds from PPRTA 1 $4,790,000 and change.
Okay. Any questions of Rick? Okay. Anybody in the audience? All right. Thanks, Rick. Rick, are you doing the quarterly reports from the member governments? Okay. That's your thicker packet in your document in your packet.
These are the quarterly reports on the capital and maintenance projects that are required by the comprehensive IGAs for the member governments to provide to you. And the third quarter for 2015 report is attached in your packet, and I'll try to take any questions or refer them to the applicable staff member.
Any comments or questions? It was really good documentation.
Thanks for the
Really good
detail with
documentation.
pictures. That was great.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? All right. Thank you very much, Rick. Let's go to the board appointments and for and administrative actions.
This one is partially information, but there is some action. And as you can see at the bottom of the page on the back side of the memo, there are 4 items. The board directors should begin the process to pursue reappointment with their respective governing bodies if they wish to be reappointed for calendar year 2016. PPRTA Board Secretary Rob McDonald has been advised that City of Colorado Springs directors will be the same for 2016 as they are for 2015. And I guess by my mentioning that fact, they will get into the minutes to help document that. Number 2, El Paso County Director should begin the process to assist the board in selecting a chair for 2016 from the county's PPRTA board membership at the January 13, 2016 board meeting. Number 3, the City of Colorado Springs directors have selected Chair Bennett to be nominated to serve as the board's vice chair for 2016. That's the information that Rob McDonald has received, and I'm relaying to you. And 4, the action item, to receive the recommendation from the board's ad hoc subcommittee regarding the board's reappointment of 2 at-large alternate CAC members, Mr. Michael and Mr. Bray, who both had partial terms, and they requested reappointment to full terms as alternate members, and the board's ad hoc subcommittee is recommending approval.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation for the ad hoc committee?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Anyone in the audience? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay.
One other small information item is that we received a letter from the city saying that CTAB had reappointed RTA CAC member Steve Murray from CTAB to the CAC. So that's just for information.
Okay. And I just want to let the board know the reason I continued as vice chair is the mayor has appointed me and Don Knight to serve on the 2C Task Force Advisory Committee, so we will be able to have some coordination and communication there. So that's the reason I was willing to continue.
Did have a
Yes.
quick question. So in this case, the county will be selecting who they want to be the chair for 2016, and then they inform you of that, or how does it work exactly?
According to the board's bylaws, the board appoints.
Yeah.
So the motion or the nomination, the motion nominating can come from anyone.
Okay.
But the good news is you're about done with me as your chair, so that's a good news.
You're about to break your own record.
I'm trying. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Let's go. We will not be having an executive session, but we do have some issues regarding an ongoing litigation. Jennifer, you want to bring us up to date and
Yes.
tell us what we need to do?
Yes, sir. Our litigation counsel, Peter Forbes, who was here a couple of months ago, introduced himself to the board. He provided us a status report, nothing really earth-shattering to report. It's just the beginning conference with all the different counsels involved, legal counsel involved, setting out sort of how the case is going to proceed. He suspects that it's going to probably just not even go to trial. It'll just be decided by the judge on cross-summary judgment motions. The one issue for you today is that this type of case, under the Colorado Rules of Civil Procedure that were just amended this July, it falls under what's called Rule 16.1, which means that you don't get discovery. He suspects that we probably won't need discovery, but he likes to keep that option open in case the case proceeds in a way he's not expecting, and he thinks discovery will be helpful. What we can do is actually there's a method for electing out of Rule 16.1, which then means you elect back into Rule 16, which allows for discovery if needed. So it's basically just leaving that door open. So his suggestion to the board would be to approve electing exclusion from Rule 16.1, which therefore means you get back into Rule 16. So
Let me ask if there's before we get too far away so we know how to do it, is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Now let's open it up for discussion. All this does is allow our attorney that we've hired to proceed and to have discovery if that should be needed. Anything else, Jennifer?
no, you said it much more clearly than I did. Leave it to a lawyer to make it as difficult as possible to explain.
No, you do a great job. Any other discussion regarding this? Okay.
Does the motion need to authorize a specific person to sign some document?
Nope. I have it right here, so Merv will sign it.
Okay.
Unless he doesn't want to, then he can designate somebody else.
Well, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Just a quick question. Any compromises being made in reverting back to that 16 versus 16.1? Any other impact?
No, it really just allows that door to stay open. Sure. If we don't elect out a 16.1 and the case moves forward, there can't be discovery. So, but it's really it's a win-win situation the way he views it. At this point, we don't really have any updates on the case. I'm guessing at maybe the January or February meeting, we would have some executive session worthy material that'll actually be sensitive legal advice to you, but nothing this month.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Jennifer, anything else regarding that?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you. You did a great job. Is there any PPRTA member announcements? I have one. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So
for all of us.
Is that where you're at, too?
Yeah, you said it for
okay.
all of us.
All right. All right. With that, we're adjourned.
36 minutes? You're going to get reelected chair.
Oh, now I get to...